Hello everyone. Hello. I guess we're live. And yeah, hello everyone. How are you guys doing? I welcome you all to the stream on behalf of our GDG family, GDG VIT family. So yeah, how are you all? How are you all doing? How are your vacations going? I hope everything's going all good. And yeah, so today's session is Ship the Web, which is about what is web, what is internet, and how do you actually how do you make websites, how people used to make websites, yeah, how what technologies did they use, and what are the latest and current technologies, what are we using as developers and everything. Okay, so yeah, this live stream or this session is gonna be hell interesting. And yeah, we'll keep this session interactive, by the way. And you can always post your questions and everything on the comment box, and I have the comment open. Hi Adit, by the way. Hi Adit. Yeah, so I have the comment box open right in front of me. So yeah, you can always post any questions if you have with me. Okay, and I'll try to answer with like uh, yeah, I'll try to answer everything. So just to give an overview of what all we are gonna learn and what all we are gonna experience in this session. So first of all, we'll talk about how internet evolved, what was the evolution of internet, how everything started, like what was the need of connecting PCs or connecting systems or connecting devices. And then what we're also gonna talk a little about client and server architecture, and then request response, and then evolution of web development, React, and then production. And also we have a part at the last about SDGs. So we are gonna talk about everything in this session. Okay, so let me share my screen. Yeah. So, web development. Okay, so this session is a beginner's guide to web development, or React, Next.js, and Vercel, everything. We are gonna build everything from scratch and then deploy. And yeah, you can share your websites which you have made along with me. We'll code along, and yeah, you can share them with your friends and everyone. You can't just share the local OS 3000 link, right, with your friends. They'll obviously make fun of you, right? So we'll start with the session. So what is web? Okay, so what is web? First of all, web is nothing but it is a connection of many computers or many clients. Let us say many clients, many server, and everything. Do you know, you can relate with this with the spider web, right? A spider web has many many threads, which I say, okay, it has many threads, right? So every node can reach every node in the spider web, right? So that's basically what web is, right? So we have a lot of clients, a lot of devices which have their specific addresses, which we're going to talk about. Don't worry about that. These terms are going to be friendly, okay, with you. So yeah, we have different addresses and everything. So every client or every device can interact and can communicate with each other. Okay, so let me first tell you what how internet evolved, right? So what was the what was the main reason behind internet, right? So it's like around 1960s, right? 1960s, USA, like there was war between going on between USA and Russia, if I'm not wrong. I don't recall that much, but yeah, war on innovations and everything, right? So around 1960s, right? So everyone wanted to they wanted a protocol, or they wanted a rule, they wanted a way to communicate to each other, right? So we had some systems in MIT, which is Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Boston, right? MIT, and we had like three more computers or systems around the US, right? So what they wanted was a way to communicate to each other around these four PCs or computers, as we say it now. Okay, then what they proposed was they started sending the data through packets. Okay, packets. We still use this method for sending data, but yeah, we have evolved a lot, and there are still like many different new methods that we use, but yeah, basically we use packets, we send data through the packets. Okay, so they started sending data, they using packets, and they connected all these four to five places using this internet, and they call this one second, I have this written somewhere. Yeah, they call this ARPANET. Okay, the name was ARPANET. They call this the ARPANET, and then gradually this ARPANET became internet. Like when more clients and everything, they started being getting connected to each other, so they call this internet that we are using as of now. Okay, so, what is the journey of a request? First of all, okay. So, you guys are watching me, right, on the YouTube live stream, right? So, you're actually what's happening actually is you guys are sending. You guys are the client, by the way. The user is a client. If I'm also like streaming live on YouTube using a third-party software. Okay, so I am sending a request to that software. That software is sending a request to YouTube, and then you guys are sending requests to YouTube that you want to see this particular live stream, and then YouTube is serving this particular live stream to you. Okay, so as you can see, this REST API model, this is like widely used and most commonly used model, which everyone like basically 90% of the websites use this. Okay, so we have a request. Okay, a request. What is a request? A request is nothing. That this is a simple English term, right? So if you want to get something, you'll request someone that I need something, right? So suppose you guys want to watch YouTube. Okay, so what you guys will do is make a get request to YouTube server. So maybe let me just add a page here. Okay, so you suppose this is your computer, or this is a device which you are using, and this is you. Always smile. And yeah, this is you. You open your browser, by the way. Browser is nothing but a method or a way to browse through the internet. Okay, okay, so you go to the browser, you go to the search bar, and you type youtube.com. Okay, so now what this browser does is this browser makes a get request to the YouTube server. Let this be a server. Don't mind my drawing skills. Okay, so yeah, you make okay, let me read the comments also. Hi Zyroned, hi Piyush, hi Bhumika, hi Upayan. Welcome, I welcome you all to the live stream. Okay, so yeah, you basically make a get request to YouTube server, and then YouTube server may check a lot of things. Okay, maybe you are signed in, right? This is you, by the way, this is you. And maybe you are signed in, or maybe you are not signed in. So YouTube will always serve like the web pages or anything based on your current sign-in state or user state. That everyone knows that if you're signed in, then YouTube's homepage will display like your recommended channels, your recommended videos and all. Hi Shashank, hi Shashank, hi Sarah. Okay, so yeah, yeah. So YouTube will render everything based on the current user state, right? So you make a GET request again to the YouTube server, and then the YouTube checks about your account, that maybe that's you at gmail.com something. This is your account, right? And then it will uh, serve you a like specific web page that you have requested. Maybe you are not allowed to access it. This stream which is going on right now, we have already scheduled this stream, right? So but until and unless we start the stream, you guys won't be able to see it, right? So that is basically like the access control and all. Okay, so YouTube will send this stream or any particular web page that you want to see to you, and you guys can see that. Now we don't just have a get request, we also have some standard requests such as get, or like get, we have already talked about it, I'm sorry. The get request, the post request, put request, delete request, and we also have a special request which is options. Many people don't like include this in their APIs and everything, but I guess sorry, yeah, but I guess everyone should include that. Being a good developer and experienced developer, you should include the options option also in the API. We'll talk about everything, don't worry guys. Okay, so yeah, this is basically the REST API model. You send a request, this is you, this is the server. You send a request to the server, the server responds to you with some web page or anything which you have talked about. Okay, so now let's talk about one thing. 1 minute, guys. I'm unable to see anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. Okay. This is DNS. Let's talk about DNS. Okay. What is DNS? Do you remember old days? Okay, when we didn't have any phone, right? Like we used to have a landline in our homes, and we used to have a phone book, right? Which we used to use, which we used as a method, as a directory of phones, like contacts and everything. Okay, so that's all. That's how internet works. 1 second. Yeah, that's how internet works. So everyone or every device, if I say every client on the internet, their own ip address has their own IP address. This IP address basically, if it's local IP address, it usually starts with 192.168 dot your subnet and then your address. So this is the basic structure of a local IP address. You guys can also see your computers or your PCs or your devices IP address by using ipconfig command. Yeah, ipconfig command if you're on Windows, and ifconfig if you're on Mac or Linux. Okay, so you guys can see, yeah, you can see. And we also have two types of IP addresses, which one's IPv4 and second one is IPv6. This is usually, this has like four components in it, and then the 16 one has 16 components in it, which is usually long. And yeah, it is usually long, and we won't go out of the topic. We have a lot to talk about it. We'll talk about it someday later. So yeah, so DNS, how this works is, once you send a request as a client, you send a request to a specific domain name, for example, youtube.com, right? So your IP, like the internet service provider, ISP, be it Geo or Airtel or any other VDC and fiber, there are a lot of ISPs, be it anyone. So they use a particular DNS resolver, okay? The most common DNS resolver is 1.1.1.1, which is Cloudflare's DNS resolver, and the other one is 8.8.8.8, which is Google's DNS resolver. So, what these DNS resolvers do is, they know that if I'm getting a request as youtube.com, I need to redirect this request to YouTube server's IP address. Maybe it may be 10.10.8.98, something like that, not 898 dot something, maybe, and it might be anything. So uh, these DNS resolver, what they do is they redirect your request based on the domain and the IP address which it is pointing to. Okay. Now we have a lot of DNS records such as A records, TXT records, MX records, A records, and then triple like A records. So these are like a lot of requests. Sorry, a lot of DNS records. I will try to cover everything in the upcoming session once when we are deploying and when we are deploying a project. Basically, we will add a domain also to our project, so you can customize everything. Hi, Sachin. We learn from this. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, this is what DNS resolvers do. Okay, now HTTPS and HTTP. What this says is the standard set of rules and handshakes that clients and servers use to communicate securely. Okay, so what is HTTP? HTTP is nothing. Everyone knows the full form of HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, we have a lot of protocols. Basically, what all these protocols use is TCP/IP. Okay, TCP/IP, okay, TCP/IP. Everyone uses TCP/IP. The port for HTTP is 80. This is standard port, by the way. The port for HTTP is 80, and then port for HTTPS is 443. 443. These are the standard ports which everyone throughout the world uses. Okay, so yeah, so HTTP is a protocol, which is a rule. If we say which is a rule, and HTTPS is hypertext transfer protocol, secure. Okay, so what's the difference between these two? Okay, so when I am sending my data using HTTP protocol, then any interceptor, suppose these two are okay, two people are like having a talk and they're having a communication between each other. Okay, if they're using HTTP, I can create another page. One second, yeah. So these two people, they're having a talk with each other using the HTTP protocol, right? So if I am standing here, right, if I somehow maybe they are in a room, okay, and if I somehow enter the room and maybe I'm standing there and they're having some conversation which I am not supposed to listen to. So one second, guys, I am having some issue with my monitor. Yeah, which I'm not supposed to listen to, then this might create a problem, right? If this data which they are sharing, which they're exchanging is confidential, so that will create a problem for sure if I'm not supposed to listen to that and I have that data, right? So this is HTTP. And what is HTTPS? HTTPS is basically if they're in a room, right? This room will have a key or a standard key or any digital key, which only these two people have. Only these two people have that key, and only they can enter the room. If even if I try to enter the room, it won't allow me, right? It won't allow me to enter the room. And this can, yeah, this is the best example, I guess. Yeah, it won't allow me to enter the room, and then I can't hear or listen to the anything, the data which they're sharing. Class 10th revision. Bro, I don't think so. They taught you they taught everything in class 10th. Nice, nice. Okay. No worries. Okay, so this is basically HTTP and HTTPS. And then IP address, I have already told about the IP addresses, which is a unique identifier that everyone has. Yeah, that everyone has through when everyone's using the internet. Okay. Let us also take a little example. So everyone who all are using Wi-Fi, right? Everyone must be using Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. So w- everyone has a router in their home, a router or a modem, which is modulator, demodulator. Okay. Everyone has a router. What a router does is it routes the request you send a request to router, and then router sends the router is basically connected to your ISP, right? So the router helps you access the internet, right? So this router works on local addresses. This router assigns you a local IP address. Maybe I have different phones. I have three phones. Okay, so I these three phones will have different local IP addresses, and then this router will have its own unique IP address, which is open through the internet. Okay, so maybe that is 10.68 dot something dot something. Okay, and this is, by the way, a rotating IP address. This is not static. Static IP addresses are paid. Yeah, as of like as far as I know, they are paid. So yeah, this is a rotating IP address. Okay, so that's what that's how the router and everything works. Okay, and then edge networks. What are edge networks? Edge networks are nothing but um, suppose I'm in India. I'm in India and my website or my service is hosted in USA. Okay. So if I have a client, if I have a customer in India, right, and he wants to access my website or my service, then the request needs to be routed from like from India to USA, and then the server will check the request, and then back it will send the response back to India, right? So this creates a latency, what we call as, right, latency. This creates a latency. So edge networks are nothing but they are they are basically different servers located and hosted. The services are hosted in different locations, which use different servers. And if my client is in India, then the Indian server can respond to the client. And if I also have a client from USA, right, and so the USA server can respond. So the user experience and the latency is minimum in that case. Okay, and then we come to the part where we talk about the evolution of web. Okay, let me just check if something's left. Okay, nothing. Yeah. So how web used to work? Uh, I guess during 1980 something or 1996, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 1996 HTML version 1 was introduced to everyone, and yeah, everyone used HTML. And then in the upcoming versions, HTML was also integrated with CSS, which is used for styling the web pages. And then JavaScript came to existence. And yeah, JavaScript is basically the brain of website. CSS is basically how you style the website, how the website looks. And HTML is the basic template. Okay, that serves the styles and the brain. Okay, so this is the old way how everyone used to um, create the websites. And then we have a modern JavaScript library, which is React. React is like widely used library, JavaScript library, which everyone uses, yeah. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so we'll talk about guys. Okay, do you have any questions as of now? If everyone can respond with a thumbs up or anything, that would be great. Anyone, if you have any questions, good to go. Okay, Shashank. Okay, let's continue then. Okay, so HTML, the old way to create websites and everything, and React, the JavaScript library, which makes our life way easier. Okay, so what HTML used to serve was a simple web page, right? So maybe this web page has a header section, and then the content and the footer. Okay, so if I created like web pages or three pages inside my website, then I had to write all these three components. Okay, this will be different based on the web page that you are visiting, but the header and footer will almost be same, right? So why do I need to write everything from the scratch for like different web pages, right? So React is basically solving that issue. What we do in React is we make small components. Okay. So, for example, I can make a navbar .jsx file which has the code for navbar, and then a footer.jsx file, footer.jsx file which has the code for footer, and then in every page I can tell React that okay, whenever a user or a client visits my website or any page in my website. Brother, will you teach about deployment in Vercel and render? Yeah, we'll use Vercel. We won't use render. Will use Vercel for sure. Yeah, you can stay in the live stream. I'll teach. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so React, we can tell React that whenever a client or anyone visits my website, instead of showing just the data which is related to the web page, also display the navbar, the data, and the footer all together. So we don't need to write navbar's code and then footer's code in every web page. The React library makes everything a lot easier. Okay, and then what is Next.js? Next.js is amazing. Okay, Next.js is basically React with superpowers, right? So it helps us with SEO, and then more optimizations, and then routing. We'll also create a Next.js project and deploy, so you guys can wait for it. Okay, so Next.js is basically React with superpowers. It makes our life easier using React, which was already making our life easier. That's way better than HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so we have already talked about it. What is React, and yeah, how does this work? Okay, so we'll use some files which has extension as JSX, which is JavaScript XML. So what JSX is? What is JSX? So you guys know that the file extension for C is .c, and C++ is .c++, right? So likewise, the file extension for using like creating React web pages is JSX, which is JavaScript XML. This allows us to add HTML looking code to JavaScript. Basically, it integrates JavaScript and HTML all together. So we can render everything conditionally, maybe based on some data values which we are receiving from the API and something like that. We'll all do this practically, so you guys can wait. This won't be a boring session, I'm sure. I know this is a lot of theory, but yeah, we need to learn a little okay about this. Okay, so we move the data between pieces using props and yeah, everything. And then states, props, and then JSX. Yeah. We'll talk about it later. Okay, now what is TypeScript? What is TypeScript, man? We all know about JavaScript and everything, right? What is TypeScript? TypeScript is nothing but basically it is JavaScript, but it is dynamically typed. Okay, so if I'm writing JavaScript, we usually declare a constant as constant. I'm sorry, let me add a page. Yeah, we usually declare constants as constant. Maybe delivery, constant delivery is equal to something, some JSON object. Let it be some JSON object, right? So this is JavaScript. When we are writing this thing is JavaScript, right? But when we are writing constant delivery is equal to this thing, if we're using TypeScript, right? So what TypeScript will do is okay, that TypeScript will say that okay, I know there exists some variable as delivery, but what is it? What is it? Even though we have like JSON, like the curly brackets, we clearly know that's JSON, but what is it? What do we have inside it? Okay, so maybe inside that delivery object, we have an ID field. Okay, sorry. Yeah, we have an ID field inside that delivery object, and then maybe we have a delivery number. Let me call that delivery number. Okay, yeah. We have a delivery number inside it and some more other fields, right? So we need to declare a type which is of delivery, and then we can assign this type to this constant delivery. So this thing makes our life easier when we are actually writing the code. This thing can actually help with the suggestions while we write the code. Okay, so that's basically TypeScript. Okay, so everything that is written in TypeScript needs to be compiled to the native JavaScript to be to be shown and to be executed, right? So obviously JavaScript is needed. So yeah, this is what TypeScript is. Basically, we define types and everything. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we have already talked about it. Superset of JavaScript, and then yeah, we define what type of variable it is, and then uh, it needs to be compiled to JavaScript. Yeah, fine. Now, everyone knows about CSS, cascaded style sheets, and what it does. It styles a web page. It helps our website looks better, right? So, do how the modern web developers style their websites? Okay, I have like rarely seen a developer using vanilla CSS in the in their web projects or anything. Mostly everyone uses Tailwind. See, I get it that we need to know CSS, right? We need to know CSS before knowing Tailwind, but Tailwind makes our life easier again. Okay, so yeah, what is Tailwind? Tailwind is basically pre-written CSS code. Okay, that we can import in our web page using a CDN or a package, and then using the predefined classes, we can use that predefined classes in our code, and then that predefined classes will be applied to our current code. So let me share my VS Code screen once again. Yeah, let me actually share the whole screen. Oh, okay. How are you guys enjoying the session as of now? If you guys have any questions, you can always send them in the uh, comment box. Yeah. So let me have Tailwind. Okay, let me search for Tailwind. Just a second. My internet's not that good. Yeah. So Tailwind. Maybe I should search for Tailwind CDN. Yeah. Let me open this. Paste. Okay. So when I open this, this is a pre-written CSS file. This is not actually pre-written CSS file, but you can think this as a pre-written CSS file that we can take from this, and we can apply the class names and everything from here to our code. Okay, so this is basically um, pre-written CSS, and then we can import the class names and everything using. Sorry, one second. Yeah, using the CDN of Tailwind. Okay, so yeah, getting again to our PPT, styling with Tailwind CSS, we can use custom classes like BG Blue and Font Bold, which are already defined in the Tailwind CDN, everything. So we can just import everything and then use. Yeah, we have already talked about everything. So what is Next.js now? Next.js is React framework. Okay, Next.js, as we have talked, that Next.js is basically React with a lot of superpowers like SEO, routing, optimization, image optimizations, and everything, middlewares, everything. Next.js is actually used for full stack projects also. Even we have built, I have built many projects when I didn't know about how to code in Express.js, right? So I used to build full stack projects in Next.js. One second. Yeah. So, thank you, Akya. Thank you, Bhumika. Okay. So, yeah, once again, Next.js is basically React with superpowers. So, we have already heard and we have already read a lot of theory now. So, let's now come to our code editor, and then we can continue with uh, writing code. I'll request you all to open your code editors if you want. Don't be lazy, guys. Let's code together. Let's just code along with me, okay? One second, I'm just sharing my screen. Sorry. Is my screen visible? My notepad is ready. Okay. I guess my screen is visible now, Akshat. Is my screen visible now? We have some latencies in the stream. Sorry for that. Okay. So now the screen is visible. So let me just close my iPad and keep it somewhere. We don't need this now. We will start coding now. Yay, crazy. Okay. So how do we initialize a Next.js project? How do we initialize a Next.js project? There's nothing uh, like tedious. It's all easy. We just need to write a command. Okay, first of all, you guys need to have npm node package manager and node installed in your systems. You can search in Google for node download, node.js download, and then install that. Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we already have node.js node minus v. We already have node.js version 24.10.0. Okay, so we can type this command npx create next app at latest. And where do we want to create? In the current working directory. I've already made a folder, gdg session, sorry, gdg session. So I'm adding this in my current directory. So let's use recommended settings. It will take a little time to have to download everything. So let me tell you what everything is. Tailwind CSS, we have already talked about it. Types, we have already talked about it. What is TypeScript and how do we use? So it's installing the types for Node, React, React DOM. ESLint, ESLint is nothing but ESLint is a linter basically. Okay, so ESLint warns you about your unused variables, and if you are not declaring type somewhere, so it will warn you about everything that you need to declare the types here, and you are unnecessarily declaring a variable there and you're not using it, which might create a problem in the upcoming commits and everything. Okay, so yeah, we have already created a Next.js project. So we run the Next.js project using npm run dev. Okay, I'm sorry, I will have to share my screen again. I'm sorry, so sorry. I'll share the entire screen now. No worries. Okay, so it says that yeah, it says that it has opened port 3000 in my computer in my local network basically, and I can access this. So this is our and like the page, the landing page of our Next.js project. So this is the like the directory for our app. This is the page.tsx, which is this page. If I start something here. Hi guys. Sorry. Hi guys. Okay, no, just hi guys. Okay, so it will reflect here. And what layout.tsx does is we can have different layouts in our app, by the way, in our Next.js application. But yeah, what layout.tsx basically does is it has this page.tsx, right? So every page inside my application will go through this page, this layout. Okay, so if I write test application as title here, right? Test application. So my meta contents will change test application, and if I am not declaring any other layout inside my application, so it will use the root layout by default, which is this layout. Okay, so yeah, that's all we had to talk about the homepage. Now, how can we create some custom pages like this custom page? Okay, so for that we need to have a folder. I'll create a new file, which is maybe my page, and then slash page.tsx. Okay, so now my page dot and page dot yes. So and we'll use we can use RFC, which is this is an extension by the way, which already has. pre-made React components, but we are gonna write it like on our own. Okay. So my page, constant my page equal to this. This is an arrow function which React uses, and then return this thing, and then return a div element. Div element, yeah. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, second page, my page. Let's use this. Okay. And now if I go to my page, it will display everything inside this. Okay, so let's create a home page, or yeah, let's create a home page, a simple home page. Okay, so what I'll do is write class name, which is maybe bg red first of all, for like understanding what actually is going on, and then w full, which will take the full width of its parent, and then minimum at screen, which will take the height of this particular div element as the height of the screen. So okay, we have this red is not looking good. I'm sorry guys. I will have slate 900 maybe. Yeah, this looks good. Everyone is using dark mode, and I'm so sorry for this. Yeah, I'm so sorry for this. Okay, so we have our page set up, and then we'll define as flex. Okay, let's keep it flex row, and then items center justify center, and then we'll have another h1 element maybe inside this. This is my custom page. Hey, okay, this is my custom page, something like that. So we have this custom page here. Okay, yeah, everything's there. I don't want any suggestions, bro. Don't stop giving me suggestions. And we can always use different class names for everything. Maybe I want this font to be bold, so I'll write font bold, which will make this font bold, or maybe italic. So it will make this font italic. And there are many classes which you can play around. So you can go to the Tailwind website, and there are a lot of classes, being honest, and I cannot cover everything on this in this live stream. So yeah, there are a lot many classes for specified for text form, like for text, for div elements, for images and everything. So yeah, there are a lot many classes. Okay, so one more thing, how does Next.js work? Let me just grab my PPT once again. Hmm, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So how does Next.js work? Okay, so Next.js actually works on two different things, right? So it uses, first of all, it uses server, or like it uses server side rendered components and client side render components. Okay, so server side render components, my bad. Okay, so server side rendered components are basically components which are already made and built uh, while we build the Next.js application. Okay, yeah. One second, I'll switch back to my screen. Okay, can you switch the screen, please? Yeah, yeah, all good, all good. So it uses a server side client component and a client side component. So server side components are already built and compiled on the server side, which is basically when we run the command npm run build, which builds the app when it which is ready for production. And the client side components are basically used to interact with the client, and like whenever a client has uh, like whenever client input something. One second, guys. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we have server side components and client side components. So we use a special keyword, that is use client, when we are writing a client-side component. We use this, and by default, like Next.js components, they already use the server-side rendering technique. So by default, everything is rendered on the server side until and unless you specify that, okay, this particular component needs to be rendered in the client side. Okay, so this is basically Next.js. It has crazy directory, crazy routing things, and which is basically easier, and it makes our life easier. We can grab query parameters, we can grab URL parameters easily, and everything easily. Okay, this page.tsx, we have already talked about it. That page.tsx is basically the landing file, or the landing page. What do I say? The landing page or landing file of a particular directory. For example, we created a my page directory, right? My page directory, and inside the my page directory, we created a page.tsx file, page.tsx, which helped us render the component for my page slash my page. Okay, so yeah, that's how this works. And then layout.tsx also, we have already talked about it. That every page inside the application gets rendered through the layout.tsx until and unless we create a different layout for a specific directory. For example, we can always create a my page, which is a directory, and then inside that we can create a layout.tsx. So what it does is every child of my page. For example, if I create my page slash test one. Okay, so that test one will now use the layout inside my page and not the layout inside app directory, right? Not the main layout, but the layout that I created inside the my page. Okay, so yeah, that's how layout works. And now, what is use state? Okay, we are going to talk about two important hooks in React, which is use state and use effect. Use state and use effect are two most widely used um, like React hooks, and yeah, they are basically used everywhere. Once you create a, even if you create a simple website, or even if you create a full stack website, or which has a lot many services, which has a lot many functionalities, you will always use state and use effect. These two are widely used hooks. Okay, so what is use state? So use state, basically what it does is it remembers the input that we give to it. Okay, so use state, what use state has is basically it has two functions. Okay, first we need to import that use state from React, which is a library. Okay, we need to import usestate from React, and then usestate has two functions, which is one is the value function. Let's call it value, and then the second is the setter function, which when we call the setter function, it sets the value for the current value, which I've declared as value, and we'll create it as usestate and something like this. Okay, usestate. I will have this coded as of now. We are just learning about the theory. Okay, so this is a setter function. This is a setter function, and this is a value. Okay, so whenever we call the setter function, it triggers a render. It triggers a re-render to the client. Yeah, it triggers a re-render to the client, and then the client side, and then it updates the value of the variable, which whatever variable which you have declared. As of now, I have declared the value. We have a question from Akshat. How do I know if I should render some component as a server side or client side? Okay, so server side and client side. I have already told about this, that whenever you want some input from the client. Okay, um, whenever we want some inputs from the client, we can use the use client function. For example, I want some input. Maybe I'm using some forms, okay, for login and sign up. If I want to use some forms, so I can have the value of the form, that okay, I want this particular name field or password field to be um set as a state. For example, if I set email and comma set email as a state, so email will now has is its own state, has its own memory, and then you can always get the value of email from the client, right? And if you just want to display a web page, maybe let's take an example of your portfolio. Okay, so Akshat, if you want to display Akshat, okay, if I'm Akshat and I do this, I'm interested in web development for example. Okay, so if you just want to display static pages and static things, so you can always use server side rendered components, because then you don't need many inputs from the client, right? So when the page is already when the page is static and you don't need inputs from the client or anyone that is using, so you can render that on the server side. And if you want some inputs from the clients or anything, then you can use the use client keyword to make it render on the client side. Okay, I guess that answers your questions. Okay, so yeah, that is use state. Basically, it remembers the memory. And then what is use effect? Use effect is basically a function. Um, Sorry, it's a hook. My bad. It's basically a hook which we can use for maybe executing a function at least once, or uh, we can have we can have use state uh say. Okay, let me take an example. Okay, so if I want to um what example should I choose? Okay, so yeah, if I want to say that whenever the value of a particular component or value of a particular variable changes in the like web page, then you should run this function. Okay, for example, if I am having a dynamic page which is slash something delivery ID, for example, delivery ID. So I want to say that whenever this delivery ID changes, you need to perform a function. You need to run a function which is fetch delivery, which might return anything like any data which we want. Okay, so whenever we need something like that, we use effect. So use effect actually comes with two things. Okay, one is the input function that it takes, and one is the dependency array. A dependency array can take any variable that you need to have a watch on, that if this variable changes, I need to have this function rendered. Okay, so basically, yeah, this is use effect. So we use effect for fetching the data once the web page is loaded and everything. So yeah, we need to use effect and use states both on the client side, because yeah, all the React hooks are used on the client side. Okay, so next is deployment. So let me quickly share my screen again and go through the uh, code. I'll share the whole screen. Yeah, can we switch the screen, please? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so for example, if I add a use client keyword here, and then we don't need this. Let's remove this. So I'll import, oops, sorry. Yeah, I'll import use state from React. That is not exported by default, so I'll have to import it like this. Okay, yeah, if you have use state from imported, and then I can set the value as constant. Okay, let's take count. Very great suggestion, man. Great suggestion. Count, and then set count, which is equal to use state, and this is an integer. This is a number. Let's take this number, and we'll have the default value as 0. Okay, and we'll also create a button. Once again, yeah, we'll create a button here. Uh, Sorry, a button which has increase count. Do we have it? Yeah, I'll make it look good. Don't worry. Class name, which is BG orange, maybe orange 400. And then we'll have a rounded SN. Yup. And then we'll have a PX of 2. Yup. And PY of 4. Yeah, no, 4 is a lot. PY of 3. Okay, this button looks good. This button looks cool. And then We'll also display the the value, which is to be displayed like this. Text LG. Let's touch this once. Yeah, it says I'll have to make this flex call so it uses the column thing. Okay, and then we can also have a gap of 10 maybe. Okay, so we now have a gap between these two components. Okay, now we'll render is we'll render the value of count. It's already suggesting me. That's cool. Which is currently 0. And we okay, what is it? Okay, this is a TypeScript error. Don't worry. We can't discuss a lot about it. So let's not use this as of now. Okay, we can't discuss a lot about it. Some other day maybe. Okay, so yeah. And then if you want to increase, we'll also make a function decrease counter, and then we will tell this button, which is using this on click, that whenever a user click this, we'll use set count, which takes previous and then previous plus one. And similarly, I'll copy this and paste it here and then previous minus one. So now we'll have our states, we'll have our count state declared. Okay, so now we can use the increase count and then decrease count button. One second, if everything's right. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we can click on the increase count, which will increase the count, and then decrease count. So what actually it is doing is whenever I'm clicking this is calling the setter function, and then setter function is increasing the value of the value the value of the count, and then it's triggering a re-render. Okay, yeah, basically yeah. And if we also want to use effect, maybe use effect will use okay, yeah, use effect, and then we'll say constant, or maybe yeah, let's not use an arrow function, constant function, which is not handle key down. Let's call this as just simple simple log. Okay, which is nothing, but it will just console dot log. Okay, count is updated to count. Yeah, this works. And then we'll use effect, which will have a basic function inside it, and then a dependency array. This dependency array, if it is left empty, then this function which we write inside use effect will run at least once per render. Okay, so as of now I'm like adding count to the dependency array, and then I'll run this simple log function. Okay, so now if I open the console, the shortcut key for opening is it is command sorry alt control C. Yeah, alt control C or alt shift C, anything based on your operating system. So yeah, so as of now, if I reload the page, this function inside the use effect will run at least once, and if I trigger a render, then it will sorry, if I increase the count, then it will like run the function again and again, right? Okay, so yeah, that's how you use state, and we also have some very cool usage of use effect thing. So let's remove everything from here. First of all, I won't remove this. Okay, fine. We'll use JSON placeholder API. Okay, just for testing. So let me. This is a GET request, by the way. This is a GET request that we're gonna make. So let's use this constant. This is for post, right? Yeah. Constant fetch post is function as an async function, by the way. Yeah. Asynchronous function. Sorry, just an async function. Oh, sorry. Was the my bad, my bad. Yeah, this is normal function, and if I write async here, this will be created as an asynchronous function. And what we'll do is constant. We'll write constant response equal to await fetch. And what we're gonna fetch is, okay, wow, wow, that's crazy. It's already, it has already taken everything, yeah. And we're gonna write the method as a get method, yeah. And then headers and all, we don't need it. And then we'll say that constant JSON equal to await response dot JSON. Okay, there's a typo. Okay, fine. Okay, no, no. Response dot response dot JSON. Yeah, very good. Yeah, and then we'll say console.log fetch post. Yeah, that works completely fine. Okay, let me reload this, and whenever the post is loaded, okay, we have not used use effect. We'll use use effect, which will have a function inside it. Will be an arrow function, and it will have a dependency array. We won't write anything in the dependency array because we just want it to be fetched at only once when we are reloading the page. So we'll write a function fetch post here, and then when I reload this, it should console, it should log it, right? Okay, if I'm doing anything wrong. No, I'm okay. Yeah, it has. It takes a little time. Okay, it has logged everything. And if I create a state, once again, Jason. Okay, yeah. If I create a state such as post, we'll remove this count thing. Set post, post, and then we'll use state as post, which is of type any as of now, which is of type any, and then yeah, we'll have this, and then we'll say we'll say that set post as JSON. It will set the value of post as this thing. Okay, let me have a look at the comments first. If you guys have any doubts as of now, if you guys cannot understand anything or something like that, let me know. Let me know. I wish we had a little more time so I could explain everything in detail, but yeah, we have a little like limited time. So no worries, no worries. Okay, no doubts as of now, I suppose. Yeah, no doubts as of now. Fine. So yeah, and then what we'll do is we'll render this fetched post. Mm, let's render in, sorry, one second. Let's render it in the h1 tags only. So yeah, we have user ID, title, and body. So we'll use four different h1 tags, and then we'll write, oops, my bad, write post dot user ID, and then, okay, let me write it again. Post dot user ID, and then post dot title, oh no, post dot ID, yeah, post dot ID, and then post dot title, and then post dot poly, yeah. We can also declare a type if you guys want. Type post equal to, which is, I'll just copy this. Which is, okay, no, I'll write it on my own. Which is user ID, which is of type string, and then ID, which is again of, no, that's not string, sorry, that's a number. That's a number. And then ID, that's also a number. And then title is a string and body is a string. Title is a string, and then body is also a, sorry, string. Cool. And then we can say that this state will always take the type as post. And then we can set this as null as of now. Post or null. Yeah. I won't give any errors then. So we can say this as post dot user ID. Achha, why is it giving error to me now? Because we have also set this thing, particular thing, as null, right? So it is asking me that what if post doesn't exist, right? We'll just remove null as of now. We'll keep this empty as post. Okay, Cool. And then we'll set post dot user ID. Okay. What's an error? Number is not assignable. Okay. We need to have them as string. Fine. We'll have them as string. So now if I sorry, yeah, if I refresh my application, we'll have this one and then whatever this language is, maybe this is a dummy text, and then this thing, everything displayed. So that's how you fetch the data based on different APIs and everything on a custom page. Okay. Yeah. I'll have a look at the comments again. Do you have any comments, like any questions, guys? Any questions? If you have, even if you have some silly questions, you can always ask. Please, you can always ask. Okay, once again, now we will have a look at the deployment side of the project. Can we have our screen, please? Okay, our screen is back again. So we are gonna talk about how do we deploy these things, right? So deployment is basically it's a very tedious process. It's a very complicated process that we need to take care of a lot of things. We need to take care of the server locations. We need to take care of all the services, the authorizations and authentications, and like everything that needs to be handled, by the server. We need to have we need to have our eyes on many things. Like I can not even list them out. So yeah, there are many things. So what we are gonna use is Vercel for deployment, which already makes our life way easier because it already provides us a .vercel.app. Sorry, wrong spelling. Never mind. So yeah, .vercel.app domain. It already has a server which has a domain, and then we don't need to take care about hosting our application on different locations because I guess Vercel uses AWS, which they have already configured everything that if a client is requesting this particular Vercel.app thing from anywhere throughout the world. Okay, so that particular web application will be served by from the nearest server location. We have like many server locations. For example, we have server location in Mumbai, Hyderabad, and I guess yeah, these are the two locations in India which we have. So yeah, Vercel is basically an easier approach to deployments. Okay, yeah, Vercel is an easier approach. We use push to deploy thing, which we can by which we can push the code to GitHub, and then we can link our Vercel through our GitHub, and then it will fetch everything from our GitHub, and it will serve to the clients which are requesting that. Okay, so yeah, let us initialize this repository first. So I'll have Git in it, and I will also have to sorry, github.com. Yeah, I'll have to create a new repository. I hope I don't uh, leak any of my envs. I'm afraid. Yeah, UE sessions, never mind. UE session, will create a new repository. I prefer creating a repository from here and then adding a remote URL. Get remote at origin, or sorry, origin. Yeah, and origin. My bad. Origin, and then this thing. So our local get will be added right here, and then we can always use the VS Codes Git thing. It writes Git commit messages for us and everything. So let's push this thing. All cool, all cool. Let's refresh. Do we have our code here? No. Why don't we have a code here, man? Okay, we need to publish the branch. My bad. So the main branch is published. Yep, everything we have everything here. And then we'll use Vercel for hosting. Let's open Vercel and add a new project. These are my already hosted project. I use Vercel a lot. Yeah, I use them a lot. Screen. Oh, sorry. Uh, Can we have a screen, please? My bad, my bad. Okay, so I did nothing basically. I initialized the Git repository locally, and then I added my um the GitHub URL as the origin. So my local changes and the changes on the origin or the GitHub can be synced. And I created a GitHub repository by simply going in GitHub. Sorry, yep, GitHub and then new repository, and then you can type your name, and then you can have uh, URL, and then you can have it right here. Yep, right here. So, and then you can use VS Code's this UI to have to push to commit the changes first and then push it onto the server. It also writes the commit messages here, so it's easier. No one prefers writing commit messages on their own, so okay, never mind. So we can import this um, project from GitHub. I've already linked my GitHub to Vercel. Even if you have not linked, it is a very simple process. Once you make an account on Vercel, it asks you to link your GitHub account. You can also make an account on GitHub, by the way. And yeah, it's a very easy process, just like signing in YouTube and creating a Google account. It's as easy as that. So yeah, it has already detected the framework which we are using, the Next.js, and root directory will be the current directory only. This one is the root directory, and inside the app we have our home page set up. Yeah, so we'll deploy this. These are the like customizations. If you want to have custom build commands and custom output directory, and then custom install commands, these commands as of now we won't change anything because Next.js has its commands already written. Let me show you there. Okay, so yeah, these are the scripts. Npm run dev will run the development server, build will build the production build, and then start will start the production. This dot next has everything inside it that we build. And then environment variables, we can have our environment variables here. As of now, we are not using anything. So yeah, we are not using anything as of now that we need environment variables for. So yeah, our app is published, and then we can have our look. Can have a look in our app. Yeah. And what directory did we create? My bad. Yeah, my page slash my page. Right. So yeah, it is working perfectly fine. It is using the JSON placeholder API and displaying the contents. So yeah, and any other thing that I need to tell? Once again, I'll just use this. Mm-mm-mm. Reactive and everything I've done. Deployment on Vercel also I've done. Okay, so yeah, we have covered everything and deployment on Vercel also. If we had a little more time, we could also make a whole working application on our own. But yeah, next time, some other time, maybe we're not gonna make right here. And yeah, that's basically everything that that this session needed to cover. So any questions as of now, guys? We also have one more part in this session. Just a second. Don't go, guys. Don't go as of now. I'll share a window. Yep. So we have deployed everything on Vercel. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Any questions? Where to get GitHub repository link? Okay, GitHub repository link. When you create a repository, right? When you click that new thing, that new button. Sorry. Yeah, when you create the new repository button, it redirects you to a URL, right? That you can copy that URL. That URL is basically your repository link. Is this making sense? Does that answer your question? Yep. Can we have the answer, please? Okay, maybe that answers your question. And My internet is not working maybe. For this session, project GitHub link. We will paste the GitHub link for this project, this particular project. Once the session is over, we'll have this link in the under the description of this like live stream. Don't worry about it. We'll share the project link. Okay, so we have uh, we have deployed our application that we made like right now to Vercel, and yeah, it is in production. It is live right now. So you can share that link, everything, and with your friends, and then tell them, okay, I have made my web application, and that actually fetches something from the API from the backend and everything. Okay, so this is mainly everything about front end, right? We can have a session later on like full stack development. Does it comes under uh, Merge stack, brother? What comes under Merge stack? I'm sorry. Can you frame like can you elaborate the question, please? Also, Akshat, session two, when we don't know actually. Whenever we have our session, we'll surely post in our socials. So yeah, the socials are down right here, like Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. So make sure you guys follow us on our socials, and then you can get the notifications from there for any sessions and everything. Yeah. So can't wait, Ari. Even I'm excited. Even I'm enjoying this session a lot. Guru, Aravind, can you please elaborate your question so I can answer? Tiska Sharma, when will GDSC start its recruitment? We have already posted about recruitment. That's not my thing to share. You can reach us out, and you can also follow us on Instagram and any like other socials. We often post stories about notification and everything. So yeah, we can have them. Okay, so yeah, we are gonna start our recruitments from 6 Jan. The round zero will start from 6 Jan. So yeah, I didn't know I was allowed to share that. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so we just have one more section of this live stream left, which is about sustainable development goals. Okay, so yeah, sustainable development goals. What are sustainable development goals? Sustainable development goals are nothing but these are some goals which are set by the United Nations, the UN, and what these what these aim is by 2030. By 2030 we have some 17 goals, right? So by 2030 we aim, the UN aim, or the everyone in earth which are whom like everyone who follow the UN SDGs, they aim that by 2030 we can reduce poverty. We can basically make earth a better place for everyone. Okay, so yeah, these are universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure peace, prosperity, and everything by 2030. And yeah, there are 17 basic goals which the people, everyone have discussed, and then uh, yeah. Uh, so such as climate change, inequality, and health, everything. So everything inside these 17 goals mainly focuses on building a better earth for everyone as we go. Okay. So yeah, let me answer this comment once again. It's about those stuffs what teach today. Okay, so you're asking if Merge stack comes under this. So yeah, we mainly talked about front end as of now. We didn't talk about the full stack side of web development. Yeah, but we you can, as of now, when you're watching this live stream and you're coding along with me, you can surely build static and also dynamic websites. But yeah, the Merge stack basically comes um, in full stack. So we have not discussed a lot about full stack web development. Merge stack is what? Basically Mongo, Express, React, and Node. So React part we have covered, but not the Mongo and Express part. We can have it later. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so yeah, SDGs. Coming back to SDGs. So yeah, these are the goals: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation. So basically everything. These are the 17 goals which UN has listed, and we need to follow these goals to make Earth a better place for everyone. Okay, so now let us talk how is this related to tech. Okay, so this is a tech session, right? So you might question that why am I including this? Why am I including this in a session? So this is not just related to all the social things and everything, but this is related to basically everything. Even tech comes under this. So we have some examples like Zich and Buzzbusters. These are in the field of data and IoT. These are the companies and the applications which they have developed for for making our environment and better, like everything a better place for everyone. Okay, just a second, guys. Um, yeah. So yeah, basically these two are the examples which they have these are the apps and which they have produced and which they have made to make this a better place. So Zich is an animal welfare company which this project uses crowdsourced data and Inception V3 machine learning model to verify stray dog sightings. So this is an application which developers have made to verify stray dog sightings and to help, maybe to help the stray dogs move them to the shelter or something like that. So yeah, so basically they are helping the stray dogs and everyone to make this like system better. Okay, so now Buzzbusters, they what they did was this system used Raspberry Pi and Firebase as the database thing to monitor mosquito populations in real time. So this is also an example when they actually use technology to help people, right? To help people related to health sector, right? So yeah, these are the examples, and we also have one more example of Femunity, which is related to community and AI. So what this application is, or what this platform is, basically it provides a safe harassment free space for women to connect to each other and grow. And it also has a Sakhi AI integration, which is an AI chatbot, and you can use that chatbot to talk to it about your day or anything. If you're feeling, even if you're feeling, if you're not feeling good, and even if you are feeling that you want someone to talk about something, so you can always use that. So what it is promoting is, it is promoting gender equality, it is promoting mental wellness and everything, right? So we need to have we need to use technology, and we need to use different aspects of technology, be it app development, be it web development, be it anything, so that we can actually contribute to this society. We can actually help people in the society, be it anything, right? Be it anything. So we need to make applications like this, guys. Okay, so yeah, with that, we're ending this session. I wish we had a little more time and we made a full application from the scratch to yeah, we I wish we made an application using authentication and everything. So yeah, that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this session. And even if you guys have any doubts related to anything, let me know in comments, or you can always reach any of the GDG people, GDGVIT people. And you can also reach on our Instagram, even if you're interested in any project, anything that you want to implement, and maybe you have an idea, maybe you have a crazy idea and you want to make it real, we want to make it live, so you can always discuss that. We also have an idea submission portal. So yeah, if you have a crazy idea or maybe any idea, so you can submit there and we can have a talk about it. And if you guys need help with anything, be it anything in tech, we have crazy people, we have a lot many people from different domains in technology and everything. And so yeah, they can like help you with a lot many things, right? So you can reach us out. Yeah, so fun. Thank you, Aditya. Amazing session, can't wait for part two. Yeah, I hope we have a part two. Thank you, Akshat, thank you, Sarah, thank you, Aditya, thank you, Utkarsh, thank you, Saket. And yeah, everyone, thank you, Guru. Everyone, thank you, Diska. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed your session. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna end this session, and I want to say everything. Sorry, say everyone one single thing, that keep doing things, keep learning things, keep implementing things, and then do crazy things that actually matter. Okay, that's our motto of GDG, right? So we do crazy things that actually matter, and then we suggest you guys to keep learning and keep building everything crazy. Okay, so yeah, with that, we're leaving. We'll meet soon. We'll have a session soon. Till then, bye bye.